Hi, everybody, and welcome to Leadership Labs, an online experience for marketplace leaders who want to hone their skills, add more value to their organizations, and do a better job inspiring the people they work with. Our special guest today is Elizabeth Dixon. Elizabeth leads service and hospitality strategy for Chick-fil-A. You may know that Chick-fil-A is the third largest restaurant chain in the U.S., but if you have visited a Chick-fil-A, which I'm sure you have, you won't be surprised to know that they are consistently ranked #1 for customer service. Now, we all know that customer service is evolving like never before. And so with that in mind, Elizabeth is going to share 5 key elements for an exceptional customer service experience. And be sure to stick around afterwards, and I'm going to give you a free resource for you and your entire team. Now, here's Elizabeth.
I want you to take a moment and think about a positive customer experience that you've had in the past few months. And how did it make you feel? I'll share one of mine with you. So recently, my husband and I, we went shopping, and it's not something we do very often because he hates to spend money and he definitely doesn't like to try on clothes. But we had a date and we had time to browse and shop a little. And one store we went into stood out from all the rest. It's a regional store in the Southeast called Onward Reserve. And from the moment we walked in the door, we could tell that Donna, who was the employee, who I remember her name, was glad that we were there. She joked with John. She made us feel so welcomed and comfortable. And the experience that she created was so exceptional that John even tried on clothes and he bought them. Looking back on the experience, yeah, we received the product we were looking for, but it was the experience that created a relationship to Donna and to the brand. Maybe you had an experience recently at a restaurant where your server went above and beyond. Or maybe yours was a digital experience that was so seamless and so easy. Think about that recent experience and how did it make you feel? Now we're going to go to the flip side. I want you to think about a negative one that you've had in the past few months that did not go well. For me, on that same shopping experience, there was another brand who will remain nameless, whose 2 ladies working acted like they could care less about me. I got the product, which I was a little surprised I bought, but when I left, I had no desire to go back. So maybe for you, you got the wrong product in your experience. Maybe for you, you got your car serviced and they didn't do the full job. Maybe you had a rude employee at a store or a restaurant. Whatever your negative experience was, how did it make you feel? Now let's compare those 2 feelings. Think about the positive one for a minute. Maybe you felt welcomed, invited, like you belonged. Compare that to the negative ones of feeling disrespected, disregarded, unwanted. You might be thinking, feelings? Why are we talking about feelings today? I'm going to tell you why this is important, and I don't want you to miss this. 90% of our decisions that we make each and every day are made unconsciously. What to eat, what to buy, what to watch, who to spend time with, where to go. Only 10% of the time are we consciously debating the choices that we're making. So what do you think is the greatest driver for the 90% of unconscious decision-making? It's our feelings. The science behind this is fascinating, and I would love to spend hours unpacking it, but we'll save that for another time, another day. The point's this, and don't miss it. 90% of the time, your customers are making a decision about your organization based on how they felt the last time they were with you. You see, our feelings, they come from our experiences, and they ultimately determine our decisions. In today's economy, the customer is like the driver, and the customer experience is the journey that they take with a company, ultimately determining if they come back. And if we want customers' decisions to change, we need to change the experiences that are driving their feelings. Here's the reality. Customer expectations are higher today than they've ever been. Have you noticed that? Does it feel like it's impossible to please people? Does it honestly feel like you're impossible to please sometimes? Well, never before have customers been able to get what they want, when they want it, how they want it, and where they want it. And now we all expect it that way. You see, the customer experience has become the greatest driver for loyalty and the greatest differentiator for organizations who do it well. So how does your organization make customers feel today? How do you want to make customers feel in the future? In the time that we have, I will share with you the 5 elements that I have found are critical to designing and executing an exceptional customer experience. I've had the privilege to work with several of our favorite brands across the country, from Disney to Southwest Airlines, Zappos to Chick-fil-A, and there are 5 elements that each of these organizations excel at. And what's interesting about these 5 elements is they're simple, but they are not easy. It's kind of like our health. Improving our health is based on simple principles, but they're not easy. It's a simple principle to expend more calories than you consume, but how hard is it to consistently do it? It's a simple principle to drink 8 glasses of water a day or to sleep 8 hours at night. But when Netflix releases a new series, how hard is it to go to bed? The principle is simple. The challenge is to consistently do it. It's not easy. So it begs the question, is it worth it? And to answer that, we need to understand the potential impact. And to do that, I want to share with you a few key pieces of data. The first, companies that lead in customer experience outperform the laggards by nearly 80%. 80%. 96% of customers say that customer service is important in their choice of loyalty to a brand. That is so powerful, loyalty to a brand. Now, those loyal customers, they're 5 times more likely to purchase again and 4 times more likely to then refer a friend, a future customer for your organization. Now then, think about the employee side. Companies that excel at customer experience have 1.5 times more engaged employees than the less customer-focused companies. And companies with engaged employees, they outperform the competition by 147%. So I'll ask you, would doing the work of evaluating and improving your customer experience be worth it? To increase your revenue, to increase your employee engagement, to create loyalty with customers and be a brand that they cannot imagine their life without? Well, if you said yes, listen closely. I'm going to introduce to you the 5 elements that are critical to designing an exceptional customer experience. Number 1, choose your mindset. By definition, a mindset is an established set of attitudes. The principle here is, as we think, so shall we act. You may have heard this before, and you might believe it's your grandfather who coined the term, but the truth is this goes way back to actually a book in the Bible. Proverbs 23:7 is where this comes from. And it means that our thoughts determine our actions. So how does an established set of attitudes determine our actions? Let's break this down. First, when you think about the word established is having been in existence for a long time. And then secondly, attitudes. It's a settled way of thinking or feeling. Each of us, you and I, walk around every day, whether we want to admit it or not, with settled ways of thinking that have been in existence for a long time. We do this as individuals. We even do this as teams and organizations and cultures. To give you an example, I'll ask you a pretty random one. What is your settled way of thinking around brownies? Nuts or no nuts? Most likely, you have a very passionate response to that question. What's your settled way of thinking about yellow traffic lights? Do you speed up or do you slow down? When you think about mindset for those things, we walk around with them, established ways of thinking for a long time, but apply it to your business. What about your customers? What's your mindset about your customers? Are they a nuisance or are they a necessity? Henry Ford was noted as saying, it's not the employer who pays the wages. The employer just handles the money. It's the customer who pays the wages. So what about your attitude and mindset around employees? Are they an asset or a liability? Does your culture have a mindset that it's someone else's job? Or does it have a mindset that it's all of our job? As an organization, do you have a mindset to add value or to extract it? And you might be thinking, well, why is this important? This is critical because mindset precedes change. When I worked in the wellness industry, I saw this all the time. People wanted the results of change, but they didn't want to do the work of the change until they changed their mindset. So how do we change it? You see, a change in mindset creates a change in behavior, which ends in a change in result. So what is your current mindset? And what does your mindset need to be to improve your customer experience and grow loyalty from your employees and your customers? Number 2, create your culture. My favorite definition of culture is it's how we do it here. It's those spoken and unspoken rules of what's okay and what is not okay. I'm sure you've been in a work setting before where you kind of stumbled into doing something that was not a part of that culture and you learned really quickly. In one organization I worked for, when you got on the elevator, you did not talk on your cell phone. You would get off the phone, you would tell the person you're on the phone with to hold on while you rode the elevator, had your pleasantries with those around you, but you do not talk on the phone in the elevator. Well, one day, someone who was new got on the elevator just talking on their cell phone, and everyone looked at them like they were crazy. And they were all thinking, we don't do that here. Culture, it's how we do it here. So how do we actually create our culture? Or if we don't like it, how do we recreate it? This principle is powerful. You get what you model, create, and allow. As the leader, you are both the gatekeeper and the curator of your culture. And the customer experience will never be better than the employee experience. I want to emphasize this again. You will get in your culture what you model, create, and allow. And your customer experience will never be better than your employee experience. So how serious are you at creating and protecting your culture? The next is to know your customer. The customer is that person or organization who buys the goods or services that you provide. The principle is this: customer-obsessed companies actually create company-obsessed customers. Think about that for a second. Customer-obsessed companies create company-obsessed customers. Have you ever met that person at a party who was more interested in talking about themselves than listening to others? I mean, honestly, how much time do you want to spend with them? Contrast that with the people who ask great questions. They really care. They do something with what you tell them. How much time do you want to be around them? Well, it's not that much different for customers and brands. Customer-obsessed companies create company-obsessed customers. I'll say it one more time. Customer-obsessed companies create company-obsessed customers. Let me give you a few examples. The author of Customer Obsession, Jeff Bezos with Amazon, he started the company with a focus, and as he titles, an obsession on customer needs and those needs that were there that were unmet. Warby Parker, they saw an element that customers needed affordable, stylish eyewear, and they created a way to do that. Zappos, all about convenience with care. You see, each of these organizations are so focused on who their customer is, what they need, and how they actually add value to them. So who's your customer? What do they value? What do they love in your experience? What do they not love in your current experience? Know your customers. If you don't, another brand will. Our next one, define your differentiator. What sets you apart? What is it that you can do that your competitors can't do? The principle here is to be consistently, uniquely you. People aren't simply buying goods or services. They're buying experiences. They're buying those feelings. They're buying things that make their life better, that save them time, that give them convenience. Similarly, companies and organizations cannot compete on the product or service alone. It's too easy to copy and replicate. And customers are loyal to brands that they trust more than just the products that they buy. So because of this, it's critical that as a brand, you define your differentiator. What sets you apart? What is it that you uniquely can do that your competition can't? And I know it can feel so overwhelming to think about this question of differentiation. And if that's you today, then break it down into moments. What are the moments that your organization creates for your customers that are unique? Let me give you some examples. Think about at Disney. When you take your children to go meet the characters and they're so excited and they run up to meet them, the characters lower themselves to be eye level with your kids. Or maybe at your favorite retail store, they don't hand you your bag over the counter, they walk around the counter and hand you your purchase. Or maybe at a favorite restaurant. I can give you an example from Chick-fil-A. When a guest says thank you, the team member responds with, "My pleasure." Well, the reality is that those moments, those differentiators come over time. They don't just happen overnight. It was about a decade ago that as an organization, we showed a video of Truett saying year after year after year for a decade, "What do we say when a guest says thank you?" And at the beginning of the video, the response was pretty hesitant. "My pleasure?" And then in the end, it was a all-out, passionate, "My pleasure." Well, personally, I was curious. So later that night, I asked him, I said, "Truett, did that exhaust you to see yourself saying over and over and over again to remind everybody what we needed to say?" And he, with such grace and patience, said, "Oh, Elizabeth, we can never stop saying the things that are important." So wherever you are in your journey of differentiation and defining those moments, remember, it takes time. Do not give up. When you're exhausted from saying it, say it twice as much. And remember when we talked at the beginning about the positive and negative experiences that we have had personally? Well, those came down to moments. They're moments along the journey that either went really well or really badly. So what are the moments your organization can create that are positive and unique in your industry? Because when we make those positive, unique moments consistent, it becomes our differentiator. And our final element, pursue innovation. The definition here of innovation is to introduce something new. And the principle comes from Jack Welch. He said, when the rate of external change exceeds the rate of internal change, the end is near. What does that mean to you? Some of you are sitting here in a seat today of strength in your industry. Things are going really well. Change doesn't feel difficult for you, but others are struggling. And because of that, this topic is going to land differently based on where you are. But the point is the same. Organizations must be aware and appropriately adapting to the changes around us. So here's a pretty provocative thought. Are there business homicides? Or do organizations cease to exist because of their own lack of growth, their own lack of adapting, their own lack of change? You look at some of the tensions that existed between MySpace and Facebook, Blockbuster and Netflix, or Sears and Amazon, these iconic brands now gone. Are there really business homicides, or did those brands just cease to pursue innovation? Innovation is critical to stay competitive. And when innovation becomes a part of your culture, you'll find that you become a culture that asks more questions than makes statements. One that looks ahead more than looking behind. And you're one that stays scrappy and not becoming arrogant. Because innovation, it's a pursuit. It's not a destination. So let's wrap all this up with a bow. Number 1, choose your mindset. Number 2, create your culture. Number 3, know your customer. Number 4, define your differentiation. And number 5, pursue innovation. So which of these do you need to focus on most right now? Lou Holtz, the famous NFL player and coach, has said, if you aren't growing, you're dying. And here's the deal, your customers don't want you to die. They want you to be an experience that they cannot imagine their life without. And in the end, here's why all of this matters. Yes, there's increased revenue, increased employee experience, increased loyalty from your customers, but I'm going to pose to you that there is a benefit that is greater than all those. Impact. The brands who are exceptional at customer experience have story after story after story of impact. So I'm going to close with one of those stories. A friend of mine, Nick, at a Savannah Chick-fil-A, has a customer who comes in every morning for breakfast. His name, Mr. Waters. My friend Nick recently sat down with him. He said, Mr. Waters, why do you come in every morning for breakfast? Mr. Waters pretty quickly answered and said he didn't come for the food, while it is really good, but he came because he was given hope. Nick asked, what do you mean you're given hope? He said, when I come, I get my breakfast, my chicken biscuit, but I also get hope. He said, well, how do you get hope? He said, it's how I enter the door and I'm greeted. It's how your team all remembers my name. Not only do they remember my name, they remember my order. And it reminds me that there is hope in this world. It causes me to feel unique and special in a world that rarely makes me feel that way. You see, when you make the choice to invest in your customer experience, your impact on others' lives, like Mr. Waters, will exponentially grow. It will reach far beyond the product or the service that you provide, and you're going to find yourself with customers sharing how you gave them hope, how you gave them dignity, how you shared respect with them. You're going to hear your employees talking about how you gave them opportunity in life. You taught them about what really mattered in life, in adding value to others and sharing kindness with someone, especially when they didn't expect it. You see, each of us in our businesses, we have a chance to provide something far greater in people's lives beyond the products and the services that we spend most of our time thinking about, and that's impact. The world needs you. They need you to create an experience that makes them feel welcomed, respected, like there is hope in the world. They need you to consistently create that experience that ultimately they cannot imagine their life without. It's not easy, but I promise you this, it is worth it.
I don't know about you, but my big takeaway from Elizabeth's presentation is that 90%, that's amazing, isn't it? 90% of our customers are making a decision about our brand or our organization based on how they felt the last time they were with us, which means regardless of our industry, how we serve our customers will determine whether or not we have repeat customers, and it will certainly determine whether or not we have raving fans. So to help you serve your customers better, we've created a free resource for you and your team. To access it, just go to the link at the bottom of your screen. As always, thanks so much for joining us. If you like this content, feel free to share it with a friend, and stay tuned for the next edition of Leadership Labs. We will see you then.